Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. But now, not only there, you can also check us out on all the social media sites. You can go into Facebook and just type in, let's say you wanted to see the show with Katina, 10 times, and you will want to. I promise you. She's got so many messages we're going to listen to today. But if you wanted to do that, just type in my name, type in Katina's name, and you'll be able to pull up and listen to the show as much as you want to. Not only Facebook, we're on YouTube, all social media sites, Twitter, called X now, all of those. But thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, you can send questions to Donna at donnasedge.com, Donna at donnasedge.com. You'll find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. That's in North Alabama. You'll also find us on national TV syndicated.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's on Abundant right there. Wow, just as we speak of it, there's the logo. Abundant TV, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Again, thank you so much for watching. Katina Blanchett is with us right now, and we're friends on Facebook.
We are.
And so I've been keeping up with you. And I'll have to tell you, I feel like I really, really know you. The mayor here, by the way, we've got the world's best mayor.
We do have the world's best mayor.
Chuck Abels. And so he's on the show once, sometimes twice a month.
Yeah.
And he always brings up your ministry and what you do. So tell us about it. Tell us about it.
I will. So I am the director of the Father's House Recovery Home for Women. And it is a 12-month intensive discipleship program for women. And it's for women who struggle with life-controlling issues such as substance abuse, neglect, and several other issues that they may deal with. But it is a residential program, so our ladies live there on site for 12 months. It's an intensive discipleship program, so everything we do is centered around Christ. And then the ladies have the opportunity to confront their destructive behaviors, bad choices, maybe trauma, things like that, issues that they've been through in their life that they really need help overcoming. And so we work with them through everything. We walk with them for 12 months, hand in hand, on their journey. And a lot of times they are on a very difficult journey. It's not an easy program. But it is such a beautiful thing to see women who come into our program the first day they walk in our doors. They're broken. They're beat down. They can't even hold their head up. They're so full of shame and guilt and, just heartbroken and hurt. And so to see the light come in, to see the joy start coming in, to see that they begin to believe that they can have a new life that's why we do what we do. It's like you see the light bulb come in on them, and they can believe again. They can believe for themselves again. They can believe that there's a God who truly does love them, who, before probably didn't believe he was a good God, or may not have even believed in God at all. And so we walk with these ladies for 12 months, and we help them get through their legal issues. We do an intensive exit plan to where when they graduate our program, they are stable. They have their own home. They have a good job. They have their own car, and they are ready to transition and begin their new life. And so I think that is one thing that sets our program apart from a lot of programs is our exit plan. They're not just leaving and just left to figure it out, or, you transition. You don't want to send them out the same shape that they come there in, as far as financially or having a job or stability, things like that. We want them to graduate and be completely stable. And so I believe that is why we have such a high success rate. And one of the reasons, number one being it's Christ-centered, and Jesus is the center of it all, and he changes lives. But we have a 85% success rate in our graduates, and that is unheard of. The state says that 2% of methamphetamine addicts make a full recovery, and so 2%. 2%.
Wow,
And so
that's a low number.
it is. So 85% is a huge deal, especially in our community where we're known as Meth Mountain. You know, Sand Mountain has that
Right.
name. And so we're really trying to change that and make it Recovery Mountain,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and just declare that there are hope, there's healing, and there's restoration. And that's our logo at the
Mm-hmm.
Father's house, is that there's hope,
Mm-hmm.
healing, and restoration.
That's awesome. It all has to begin somewhere, and I'm so glad you've taken this, and it's really important. Now, the core beliefs. How important is it that we have core beliefs?
Absolutely, very important. It's very, and you'll see that when their core beliefs start changing, like mine did. I'm a recovering addict. I will soon celebrate 12 years of
Awesome!
recovery and freedom
Congratulations.
in February, and that's a big deal for me because I
Mm-hmm.
come from a place where I grew up in substance abuse. My home was filled with drugs and alcohol my entire life. My dad died at a young age from chronic cirrhosis of the liver, hepatitis C from IV drug use,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know a life outside of drugs and alcohol. So my core beliefs and my core values were things of that such. You know,
Mm-hmm.
partying's all I knew. I didn't know a home of structure. I didn't know a home where you had somebody asking you, hey, do you have homework today? Hey, it's time to get a bath. Hey, it's supper time. There was
Mm-hmm.
no time or structure. You just, it was like a
Mm-hmm.
free for all the
Mm-hmm.
time, you know. And so I had 5 brothers. I grew up as a tomboy, real rough. But I went through some really hard things in life. At the age of 13, my best friend was brutally raped, murdered, and left in a cornfield for dead. And that was the first mini trial that ever took place in DeKalb County, Alabama. And it was my uncle who committed the murder, and he was my favorite uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never believed that he would ever do anything like that. But he killed my best friend, and I struggled with just believing that God was anything but mean after that. I struggled wanting to live after that. I, you know, was already in drugs and alcohol, but it just escalated so
You've been
quickly
inside
after
that
that. I
cage,
have, and
and
so I
that's how you can
understand it.
talk with other people.
Yes, that's where I come from, and that's how I understand it. So when I went to treatment almost 12 years ago and got clean for the first time, not for the first time, but I have been to 5 treatments before I was 24. And so when I actually got it though, and I encountered the Lord and in treatment, it was a state facility. It wasn't a faith-based program. It was just a 21-day facility that the state had sent me to because I was in trouble. But they introduced me to a little church. I couldn't tell you where it was, what the church name was, who the pastor was, what he preached on that day. I couldn't tell you. I
You were just
couldn't.
ready to do
I
something.
was ready, and I was either do it or die. And I was
Mm-hmm.
at the place. If I showed you my mugshot, which I don't know if you've seen it, but you can look it up. I look like a walking dead girl. I
Mm-hmm.
was 24 years old, but I looked like I had hollow eyes. I had black eyes, and my inside matched that. I was ugly and dark inside and just hated people and hated life. And why did you even create me if I was just going to suffer, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and this was the life I was going to live? But I found hope, you know, I found hope of a new life, that my sins could be forgiven and that I could be made brand new. And that is the same hope and the same life that I want to share with other people who are struggling with addiction and thinking that there's no other life or hope for them.
Mm-hmm. And there's other areas. So let's talk about hope for just a few minutes. You know, even if you don't have an addiction, I think everybody's got some kind of addiction. It could
Yeah.
be, anything. One of mine is I love chocolate. I mean,
Mm.
so you wouldn't want me to work in your chocolate store, because I'd eat everything up. But everybody has some sort of an addiction. And it's kind of being tossed out at us. It's like, the news all year is bad news.
Yep.
And we still have to talk about bad news on the show, but we also like to end it with, that's not all there is. It's just what you
Right.
see on the news. But how do you talk to people about that? How do you know when people are ready? I mean, because I'm pretty sure everybody you see, you'd probably like to get me and put me in the facility somewhere about chocolate. Donna, no more chocolate.
I'll tell you the truth is sometimes I want to go to the facility, okay? Because
Everybody struggles.
they do, we do, and it's almost seasonal for some of us. For me, I may be doing good in one area in one season and then struggling in another, and it may switch, but it's true. We all need work. There's always
Mhm.
something that we continue
Absolutely.
to work on, and I think we need to be open-minded. But when it comes to knowing if somebody's ready, sometimes you just don't. Sometimes you just got to give them the opportunity, and I believe everybody deserves an opportunity.
I too.
And if they're not ready, you continue to pray for them, and I try to keep in contact with them just so they
Mhm.
know when they are ready, they know where to go. They know who to reach out to. And so, but it's really not my call to say if somebody is ready or not. I believe that that's the Lord's call, and He does that
Well,
work.
sometimes you're just planting seeds.
Absolutely.
And they're not ready then, but something's going to jolt somebody.
Absolutely.
I have been in a situation before that I would remember something a minister said from
Yep.
40 years ago. And
Yep.
I would be like, 'cause I'm a lot older than you, but, but I would remember something. Wait a minute. It's just now sinking in my thick skull.
Yep.
I'm just now getting it. And I think a lot of us are that way. We're so busy with life. There's so many things.
Mhm.
You've got your job, you got family, you got kids, you got husband, you got wife, you got all this.
Yep.
So sometimes we're listening, but we're not listening.
Yeah, we're not processing it, but when we need it.
I'm one of those. I'm a little late.
But you can't
Processing.
despise planting of a seed, and you never know when somebody else is going to come behind you and water that seed, and when the Lord's going to cause it to bring forth fruit, and so you can't despise going about planting seeds. At the Father's house, only 29% of our residents that come into our program actually graduate. 29% is not that many. That's a low percent.
But then again, if you help one,
Exactly. But you can't despise the power of the seeds that we've been able to plant in those ladies' lives. So we've seen a number of 276 women in 5 years. 276 women have walked through our doors. 75 of those have graduated, but 40 of them that did not graduate are still clean today. And I did that count last week. 40 of them that didn't graduate
That's
our program.
amazing.
So seeds were planted in their life, and we have to believe that the ladies who may be not clean today but have come through, they've heard the gospel, they've heard hope, they've heard the message, and so we have to believe that is not just gone away, that it's still planted inside of them, and it's still growing.
Well, there are issues out there, and I'm part of a prayer group with Cowboy Church. And look at Mountain Cowboy Church, and they're wonderful folks out there. As a matter of fact, one of the members there, and she's just an amazing girl. I mean, she is something else. But sometimes Christmas comes along, the holidays come along, and it's hard to say, but a lot of families don't get along with each other.
Right.
So that causes issues, because I've been in this situation before where I dreaded Christmas. It's like, oh no, it's not because I didn't believe in God, I didn't believe in Jesus and the birth and the whole works, but you would just dread these holidays. What can folks do to get ready? When is it time just to say no and start over?
Yeah.
Or is there that situation?
I believe our culture lacks healthy boundaries. I believe we lack self-respect in a lot of areas, but we're also very selfish. So in situations like that with me, when I grew up, somebody always went to jail on Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay? That's just how it was at our house. Somebody
You
always
expected it.
Yes, there was always going to be a fight. There was always going to be somebody who had way too much to drink, But I think that there's also a lot of grief in the time of the holidays. People struggle with their loved ones that are gone and passed, and it's just hard to deal with those things. And there's a lot of resources around here for the holidays, some grief groups that are available.
Shepherd's Cove.
Yes,
they're wonderful.
Yes, and there's all kind of resources, but I think that we need to grow healthy boundaries, even though they're family and we love them. If we recognize that they are unhealthy for us, that we need to learn how to say no. We need to learn how to say, I love you, but I cannot put myself through that again. And so just lay a boundary down, respect yourself, and demand respect.
You can still love somebody and put down boundaries. You gotta
sure
love everybody.
Boundaries are healthy for everybody, even for the ones who, you may be setting a boundary towards.
Well, maybe they need a rest from me. Maybe.
Maybe so. But yeah, I think boundaries are a big deal, and I don't think we talk about that enough, honestly.
It's okay.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about kids, okay? Because Phil and I used to work with a bunch of teenagers at a church that we went to. most of these kids had never ever been to a church before. They didn't understand that while the pastor's preaching, you got to be quiet. You got to sit down. You can't just get up and start talking loud. They didn't know.
Right.
They had never been in this situation before, so it was up to us to tell them. But something that was really important, something that I actually learned from this, kids actually want boundaries.
They do.
They act like they don't. I'm all tough, I can do it myself and all this kind of stuff. How important is it in the society that we're in right now? People say, well, I'll just let my kids, decide how they want to be.
Yeah.
If they want to be this, they want to be that. How important is it for us to put some kind of a teaching element in there?
It is crucial, in my opinion, because I grew up in a home without that, without the structure, without the boundaries, without any of that. And when I began to be an adult, I didn't know how to function correctly as far as a productive member of society.
Yeah, if you have a job, that means you've got to be at work on time. Those are
right.
crucial
And
things.
structure, kids really do thrive in structure. Me and my husband are
They
huge
just tell
on
you
this.
they don't.
And they don't like it, and they may buck you for a minute, but when they've stayed up late, right, and they're on their Xbox all night because nobody tells them to get off or go to bed at a certain time, they struggle the next day, right? And so the love in us parents should say, okay, I know you don't want to get off right now, but you're going to struggle tomorrow, and so I'm looking out for you for your tomorrow. And that's what structure in our children's will do. I'm looking out for your future. And it's not just about the moment. You may be upset that you have to go to bed in the moment, but it's something that I'm instilling for your future. And I think that that's important, that we instill time management into our children. Like you said, you got to get up and go to work. And that is things where I see in our residents that they don't have and that they need. And when they begin to receive it and get comfortable in walking in those things, they thrive. And it's the same way in our children. Once they've, hey, it's bedtime. After you set that boundary for a while, they know it's bedtime and they begin to thrive in that. And so it just becomes like their first nature to do the right thing. And I think that's important, don't you?
I do too. And another thing is my son's the class clown in school. Okay, he just liked to have a good time, party, and that kind of stuff. Didn't do drugs, alcohol, nothing like that. He just wanted to be funny. So he was a ventriloquist.
Ooh.
So what happened was, all year long, this had been happening. He was going to Oxford High School, and the teacher finally called one day and said, I caught him. And I said, and I wasn't one of those mothers. I knew how he was. And she said, but now he's a good kid. She just kept apologizing. And I said, don't apologize. What did you do? And she said, all year she had been listening to this cat dog fight outside the window, and she said, Donna, he's good. I mean, he's really good. She said, and nobody ratted on him because it was disrupting the class, and she would lose her train of thought, and then the homework would go out the window. And she said, so I'd run to the window and just start knocking on the window because it would get loud, like that. And I said, I'll handle him when he gets home. She was afraid, that I was going to be mad at her, which is a mistake you parents do. Don't be mad at the teacher. Don't do that. You got to listen. That's part of you being a mother and a parent too. So anyway, I said, I'll handle him when he gets home. I don't know if maybe 2 or 3 times I've ever spanked him in his entire life, but this is what I did. So he comes in and I said, your teacher called me today. And I just stared at him. I didn't say another word. I had to keep from laughing because he looked like he was about to pass out. And then he said, what'd she say? And I said, you tell me what she said. You know what she said to me. So he said, I was just having fun and all this kind of stuff, like that. So I corrected him on that because I wanted him to go to school. I don't know how he kept his grades up. But anyway, class clown and kept his grades up.
He was busy.
And I said, no, you're not going to do that because you're preventing other people from learning.
Right.
And everybody's there to learn something.
Yep.
So he did it again, of course, because kids are going to be kids and they're going to do things like that. But I didn't go back on what I told him. How important is it that as parents that when we say we're going to do something, we follow through?
It's very important. It is. The structure of that is, how many times you say, if you do that again, I'm going to whoop you.
And then
if you do that again, I'm going to whoop you. And then you never follow through. Well, they're not going to believe you, But it's not just that they're not going to believe you on that. They begin to not trust you.
I think so too.
And that's important that you do what you say and that you follow through. And, my daughter is 2 and she's in that stage. She wants to climb and get into stuff she doesn't, know that's dangerous for her. And it's important that she learns to listen the first time. And we're not abusive or aggressive or anything, but it's important for her safety that if I say stop, that she knows to stop,
She
right?
fall and get hurt.
Fall, or what if she's running out in the road? She doesn't know traffic yet. She's 2, and I say stop, and she doesn't believe me when I'm speaking that it's important, and that's a crucial moment. So that's important that we learn to discipline our children and follow through. And that's something that our ladies learn in the parenting class, which is a beautiful thing, to learn the structure, the follow through. But also, when you reprimand your kids, it should be out of love. They should know discipline is love. Do you believe that? Discipline is love.
I do. If I had to do it over with again, I'd beat him up every single day, whether he asked for it or not. No, actually, maybe 3 or 4 whippings in an entire lifetime.
That's good.
But when I said something a minute, I mean, I would follow through. And I've done lots of crazy stuff being a parent. I've not been perfect at all. But one of the things I really picked up, again, if I said I was going to do something, I did it. Now that also applied to rewards.
Yes.
Sometimes parents don't reward their kids.
Yep.
I think that's important too.
It is. I agree with that. And then,
I'd much rather do the reward thing, though. I hate to do the other one. But you have to. It's so important.
It is important. And the reward is as well, but I think we have to be careful also not to raise up entitled children, because that's hard as well.
Oh, it's hard on Mr. Employer when they hire the
teacher
entitled.
At school and everywhere in life today. We look around in our generation and our culture as a whole are selfish and entitled, and it's almost a plague. In my opinion, I believe that we are going through a plague of selfishness. Everything is about me and my, and it's funny that's what.
When they get married, they're going to have marital problems. Because it can't be about you.
Exactly. And that's completely contrary to the gospel, to lay down our life for our friends, and to, it's better to give than to receive, and all those things that go against our flesh, and so I think it's important that we realize that selfishness really has done a number on our society.
I think so too. And again, the divorce rate is so high. It's again, and I've been known to be so busy that I didn't think about Phil's regards.
Yeah.
And
I've done the same thing.
Oh man, I mean, we got to really be careful there. And then the kids watch every single thing we do.
Yep, I agree. That's a big statement. It really is.
Flag.
Red flag.
But how important is it for us to admit what we've done wrong? Because I came from a broken home too.
Yeah.
I didn't see a whole lot of apologies going on.
My belief is we cannot change unless we can be honest about our wrongs. Until we're honest about it, then we're not going to do anything to fix it or change it. And so being honest about your wrongs in recovery, that's the first step, is you got to get honest, and you got to admit what you've done wrong and how it has been unhealthy for you and other people. And then you can begin to work on it and get better.
And that's what it's all about. And then helping each other too.
Absolutely.
If you see your spouse do something wrong, which I hardly ever do, he's always have to tell me what I'm doing wrong. But if you see something, how important is it in a Christ-like manner, by the way, that you point that out to your spouse?
Yeah, I think it's important that we do that to each other and have that open communication and trust with each other.
Because the kids are watching us.
Absolutely, yeah. And we all need accountability, and there's times in our life where we're getting into a place in our head, in our thoughts, and they're just not right, and we're not acting correctly, and it's all pouring out, and from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And maybe you got a heart issue you don't realize, and you're being,
you can't put it back in your mouth.
You can't. It's done. And sometimes we just need somebody that loves us enough to tell us the truth, and correct us and hold us accountable. I
have friends, a lot of best friends who do that. We're with each other. Because, and this is the kind of relationship me and my girlfriends have. So it's if we saw one was about to jump off of a cliff, would we tell them? I would be screaming at the top of my lungs at my friends. If I saw Marianne about to fall off the cliff, I would be yelling to get her, because I don't want her to be hurt. I don't want anything to happen.
Right.
Of course, you got to do it in a Christ-like manner, not yell. But what I mean is, I would be so just, into it to make sure she didn't get hurt. Do you know what? Half the show is already up. We're going to have to go into a commercial break. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
My Towel solved a problem that we've all had with towels. You go into the stores and they feel lotiony and soft, but then you get them home and they wouldn't dry you. That's why I made My Towels. They actually work, they're soft, and they absorb. And now I'm excited to announce 2 brand new lines of My Towels. What makes them the best towels ever is they're now made with 100% long staple Shapir cotton. This is a combed ring spun cotton that makes My Towels even softer and more absorbent than ever. And now you get a 6-piece set for an amazing introductory sale price as low as $29.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get My Towels for only $29.98. Or you can get my designer premium line for just $20 more. Either way, you save 50% now on all My Towels. They actually work. What a concept. This offer won't last long, so please order now.
MyPillow.com.
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Good afternoon. We are back. My name is Donna, and I am your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you again so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. You can catch us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and all over syndicated with Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Rob Patz, a radio guy from ever, and radio and television. He's actually the owner of Abundant Television. And so I asked Rob, I said, how many people are actually watching us? And he said, the only one I know for sure is on Roku. And how many? So that's over 80,000 people are watching us right now. And it's people all over the country, all over the world. I think a lot of missionaries are watching just to see what's going on at home. Because sometimes the news is not exactly accurate. So they want to watch a show like this just to find out what's the real thing, what's going on. So I have Katina Blanchett with me right now. But I wanted to ask you a pointed question. And a lot of folks think, well, my kids have to be them. They have to, make their own decision about how they're going to be in life and all this kind of stuff. I need guidance on even at 64 years old, I need guidance, okay? I'll never be out of that mold. So how important is it for parents to be nosy?
Very important. And
I was real good at being nosy, by the way, with Brad.
If you ask my daughter, I'm way too nosy.
I don't think you can be. Not with today's society.
It's hard today with social media and just the internet in general. But my daughter didn't get a cell phone really until she was 15 years old, and she's 16 now. And that's unheard of. She doesn't
look like somebody with 16-year-old.
But that's really unheard of. You have 8 and 9-year-olds that have cell phones, and there's parental controls, there's all those things that you can set, but how effective is it really? And we've had situations.
Oh, kids are going to figure it out.
Yeah, well, they're also very gullible, and so they believe that they're talking to someone their age.
And it's a predator.
And I think they live right down the road, and it's a predator from states away who's planning to do terrible things. And so it's very important that we know what's going on, and that we have those parental controls, and that we are keeping up with our kids' friends. Who's your friends? Because the saying, show me your friends, I'll show you your future, right?
That's
true.
And
so it's important that we are keeping up with what's going on in our kids' life, and not just their what's going on socially, but how are they? Because the mental health crisis in our young adults and our kids has rapidly declined since COVID, since the lockdown, where kids were put in a situation that they didn't know how to react to, that they didn't have time to process, really. And so mental health in our children has declined so rapidly, and I believe that the state of Alabama has done great in releasing grant money and funds to counseling services to see our children, because it's important. There was a time, and just getting real and raw, that I had to put my daughter in counseling during COVID, during the pandemic, because she was completely cut off from her friends, her social life. Church was shut down, so she didn't have her youth group. It was like she was isolated to her bedroom for months, and
it's almost like she was being punished.
It was really hard. And so, like I said, our children didn't have time to process it. Everything happened so quickly. I mean, how us adults reacted in the heat of it.
I didn't know nobody knew. It was something new. We were just like, what's the outcome going to be?
And there was all this talk of it. Right? Exactly. And so it did not just go over our children. Our children were hit with it too. And so I think that they began to reach out at a younger age in unhealthy coping manners to try to cope with that. And that's the same thing adults usually will do as well, except for it's our children. And so those are our most precious and valuable gifts that the Lord has given to us. And so it's so important that we take care of them and look after them and be involved in their life. And so you can call it nosy, but I call it being involved, and my daughter probably hates it. Like, she probably wishes I would just back up a little bit. She's like, Mom, I'm 16 now, but I can't because I know how vicious the world can be, and really my heart is to protect her and my other children as well. And so I think it's very important that we are super involved in our kids' life and know what's going on. And there's times where they're going through stuff at school, bullying, all kinds of different stuff that's going on in their generation. And they come home and they don't want to talk about it. But what happens when you don't talk about stuff that is really bothering you?
I'm going to make a mistake. I'm probably going to do something really stupid. I mean, I probably will because I don't have the guidance there.
Right.
And we got to be wise. Phil and I don't think you can ever be too wise. I have an aunt who's 102 years old.
Wow.
And she still lives by herself. And Elizabeth, she still lives by herself. And she cooks for herself. She does everything for herself. But so I asked her about this. So she's on the show for 100th birthday. And I said, Aunt Elizabeth, you remember things the rest of us in the family can't even remember.
Yeah.
How do you do this? And she said, well, I studied my Bible. I try to memorize a verse every single day. And then she started quoting some verses. And then she said, another thing, honey, I like to stay busy.
Yeah.
She said, I like to have, as a matter of fact, that's how I learned how to make lye soap, was from Aunt Elizabeth. And so she said, I just stay busy. If it's gardening, if she doesn't garden like she used to, but she said, I like to read. I still like to learn.
Yes.
I think that's one of the key things.
I believe so.
And she likes to flirt with Phil, my husband. But anyway, that's all fun. But she said, I'm always learning. I just want to know why on everything. And go with her to an auction, you'll learn.
Wow.
There are things I would have bid on at an auction, and she would look at me and go,
you better listen.
well, she knew it wasn't really an antique. And so, see, she's teaching me because you can make something look like an antique at an auction.
Yeah.
She knew the real stuff.
Wow.
So that's the person you want to listen to, the person who knows, right?
She's full of wisdom. Absolutely. And I love her. She reads her Bible every day. She memorizes scripture. And that's where our wisdom really comes from, is the Word of God. And
the book of Proverbs,
yes.
if you're looking for a book to start, so Phil and I have been doing this now for 2 years. Every single morning we listen to a proverb and we do an analysis on it.
Wow.
And it has helped.
Yes.
I don't make as many stupid decisions as I used to make. But one of those is to seek wise counsel on something. Okay, so I get into the television business, and so I'm actually doing it myself. So who did I seek wise counsel from? From Sonia, who was my producer in Charlotte, North Carolina. Tom Williams, who was the guy who actually set me up in the television business to start with.
Yeah.
Those are the wise people, the people who are successful at what they do. Not me. I mean, I wouldn't have a clue. So you find those people who do what you want to do and seek counsel. And I think one of the best things, I'll have to tell you this, the teacher I despised the most in school was Miss Ritchie, Miss Gwendolyn Ritchie. I could not stand that woman. She made me do things I didn't want to do. I was the shyest one. I got quietest in Who's Who. I did not want to do speech.
Right.
So she says, Mrs. Shears, you're going to be the first one. And I said, no, I'll melt. I won't be able to. Now, I look back on everything she taught me. My favorite teacher now was not my favorite teacher then. I thought she was picking on me, but she wasn't picking on me.
Wow. She was pulling out the best in
helped
you.
me to grow. I mean, she really did. She saw something. I don't know what in the world she saw, but she saw something. So sometimes kids feel like they're picking on me.
Yeah. And it's not just kids; it's adults too.
Yeah, like me too. I mean, still adults. We do that. They're picking on us. No, they see something in you.
And they're trying to pull it out of you, help you. That's what we do at the Father's house, really. They don't believe in themselves anymore, and they've burnt so many bridges and made so many bad decisions, and all that stuff that we try to instill into them and pull out the best qualities in. They're still there. They're still there. God created you in His image, in His likeness. You are not junk. You are. You know what I'm saying? But we felt like we should just be thrown away. Like we were just trash. There was nothing good left in us. That's exactly how I felt in my later years of addiction. It's just, you should just throw me in the garbage. There is nothing good left in me. And so, they come in the house and we try to pour that love and that hope, and they get that joy, the joy of the Lord, and they just begin to believe again, to believe that they can again, that they can dream again.
In this crazy world where the world says, give up.
Yes.
You're nothing. You're trash.
You can do anything you put your mind to. We do dream boards, and they're the coolest thing.
I love dream boards.
Yes, and we just take old magazines, and, they just cut stuff, and they'll build their families on there, and they'll build, their car. They want a minivan to fit all their kids in there, and, a garden, and their house, and all, and they just begin to dream again, and it's so beautiful to see them be able to even just believe that I can have a new life again. I can build, I can start over. I have a new opportunity, a new chance, and that's really what it's all about.
Well, the scripture that's always stuck with me is where there is no vision, people perish.
That's right.
And we have to have something.
Yes.
But you got to find out what makes a person tick. How
Yep.
do you find that out?
Well, everybody's different, and I think that you just kind of have to help guide them in, whether it be Bible studies, whether it be sermons, whether it be, substance abuse classes, whatever, to help them look inside. And we have to be careful because, again, you can get on that selfish part where it's all about you. But, when you come from a life, when I got clean, I didn't know who I was anymore. I had lost me. I'm not sure I ever knew who I was. My childhood was terrible. So somebody asked me what my favorite color was, and I looked at them like they were crazy. Like, color, like what, like,
What's that got to do with anything?
yeah, like, but then I realized I didn't know what my favorite color was. I didn't know
You
that
had
much
a whole
about
world
me.
of you that you didn't know about.
Exactly. And so I think that that's where the hopes and the visions and the aspirations begin to come about, is when they learn who they are in Christ, learn who God created them to be, because we stay stuck in the past so much, and we let the past dictate our future. And so when we can grab a hold of, what, I can pick my own favorite color. I can pick yellow today and blue tomorrow, and I have that freedom to do that. And my favorite food's spaghetti or whatever it is. And they can be passionate about that as they're learning who they are. And that's a beautiful thing. It really is.
Do you find through the years the girls are actually building relationships with each other, friendships that
They
last
do.
forever?
They do. Even though we tell them you're not here to make friends, it's inevitable. It's inevitable when you spend a year of your life with somebody, and you're sharing basically your life with that person or these people for a year. It's inevitable to build long-lasting relationships. And we do see that in our graduates, when banquet time comes around and they're like, yes, I know, can you put me at the table? So I hadn't seen her and since I graduated, and I love her and I miss her so much. And they keep up with each other on Facebook and things like that. And it's almost like a sisterhood. Yeah.
Now, you don't have to mention names or anything like that, but think of someone who has been through recovery. Maybe they were the shyest one of the whole bunch coming in. Do you have somebody like that who just really blossomed that you'd like to talk about?
I do, and I'll tell you, I'll say her name because she doesn't mind. She even works for us today. But Crystal Benson, she really struggled in the beginning. I remember one of her first few days, and at this time I worked at the Father's House full time, so I was there all the time. And she got in trouble in morning class, and I made her stand up in the middle of class, and she was like falling asleep or something. And so usually if they're falling asleep during class, I make them stand up. And so she stood up, and a couple minutes later, she just started squalling, like just broke. I mean, it was just a few days she had been there. And she ran to her room, went to the bathroom floor, and just squalled and squalled and squalled and screamed.
She needed to do that, maybe.
She was just so broken, and she thought that I was picking on her to make her stand up, which is, I wasn't. It's just,
Miss Ritchie all over, yeah.
You can't fall asleep during class, okay? But at that moment, I feel like that was her turning point. That was the moment where she began to wake up and
Now,
come
what
alive.
if you hadn't done that?
God
You would have missed an
knows.
opportunity.
Yes, and I laid there on that bathroom floor with her for a while as she cried, and she had been so abused. When I say so abused, she was tied to a tree outside for for a long time. Fire ants were eating her. They set a fire around her. She had been through some really, really terrible, terrible things. She is one of our biggest success stories today. Her mother passed away while she was in the program, and if anybody had a reason to leave and just quit, and run away, I think that would be a reason.
Yeah.
Your mom. But she didn't. She dug her heels in. I preached her mother's funeral. It was a hard time, but it grew her, and she was one of those girls that come in just quiet, broken, and just really blossomed and come out of her shell, and she's doing so good. She's doing so good. I'm just so proud of her. She works sometimes some of the night shifts or weekend shifts at the Father's House. She just wants to give back, but she works a full-time job. Her employer puts her on these interviews with hundreds of people because she's such a success story for them, for her employer. And she's just amazing. She's really, Crystal Benson is a huge success story for us, someone who has come truly from the darkness and the brokenness to just life, just beautiful life.
You just made me think of another question for you. So a lot of people don't want to talk about their background. Okay, so they've come out of it, they're a success now, and then they go on a job interview.
Yeah.
How important is it to let that person who's interviewing you know that you've been through the recovery program? They're going to find out anyway, aren't they?
Well, if you have criminal charges and the application asks you, have you been convicted of a felony, and you lie, you're probably not going to get that job.
They're going to find out.
They're going to run that background check. But normally what we've seen is that if you're honest and then you do that interview and you are honest with them and you're upfront with them, they respect that. I would respect that, someone who could just be honest and not ashamed of their past. And for me, someone who's not ashamed of their past, but very hopeful in their future, shows a true growth that, that's not who they are
that
anymore.
Person's an overcomer too,
Right,
by the way.
exactly.
I would want a staff full of overcomers.
Yes.
Because they're going to be able to help me run my business.
Yeah. And I think our employers at the Father's House find that we have some of the best workers. And they're always on time. I mean, they have that punctuality drilled into them. They're hardworking. They don't have cell phones, so they're not preoccupied, trying to check their phone all the time. They're going to stay there until it's time to clock out. You don't have to worry about them. The only thing that sometimes you might have to worry about is they have court dates sometimes that we have to take them to. But other than that, the employers are willing to work around that because of how good of employees that they are, while that they're there and they're on the clock and they're good stewards of their time, and they're respectful to the authority over them and the staff and their other employees.
That's something you see a lot of anymore. I don't care if it's someone who's recovering or not. You don't see that very often.
You don't. Yep.
Again, today's society.
It's true. Yep. So, but we have wonderful employers as well. The Jacks here in Geraldine employs some of our girls, and you go through there and they're smiling and they're joyful to give you that biscuit, and you don't see that a lot in fast food today.
Right.
And then Heritage Wire in Fort Payne, amazing employer for us. I mean, they create an atmosphere that is peaceful and quiet, and they take drugs and alcohol seriously there, and a lot of employers don't do that today, and they reward their employees and things like that. And so ESPN 5, it's a printing company, they hire them and they love it. They want more of our girls, because they find that you just don't find employees like that today.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, and again, that's something that's well needed right now.
It is. Absolutely.
Let's talk to employers out there who are they're struggling right now because they can't find decent employees.
Yeah.
People are coming in late, those kind of things. And so how can folks get in contact with you, and what's the process?
You can contact me, but I want to tell you another resource for that too. The Alabama Ready to Work program. Okay, our college here, the Northeast Alabama Community College, has a wonderful resource for the Alabama Ready to Work program. It's Alabama Works is what it's called. But the Ready to Work program is an initiative basically where they are training employees and employers, and they help these people. Basically, our girls do this program at the Father's House. They go, the college comes to our place twice a week, and they go through this. But they do mock interviews. They help them prepare for those interviews. They teach them the basic foundation foundations of being an employee, and ethics and stuff like that. That they go through all of those things, and it is like a workforce development. And that program, if employers can recruit from people who are going through that program, they will find a higher success rate in their employees.
That is so true. So true. So if I'm, say, I own XYZ company and I've heard about your program, and so let's just say that, I would like to find employees through you. How do I do it?
So you would contact me as the director, and I'm going to give you my email, okay? So my email is Katina, Katina, Wharton, and that's my maiden name, WHARTON, @gmail.com, and just give me a little bit of information about your company, and what you're looking for in an employee and hours and things of that nature, that about your employment. And then we would talk, because we do not enter into employment contracts lightly at all, because we do want our residents to have the best opportunity for their future. They have fines and fees and stuff that they have to pay while in the program, that we want them to be able to graduate successfully with financial stability. And a lot of them need insurance, health insurance, dental insurance. They have dental work they need to get done, eye insurance they need to go to the eye doctor. We want them to have the best opportunity, because we do believe in a SOZO approach. We want them physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally whole, in all ways. And so we do like for them to address their physical health and things like that. So insurance and things is important for us as well. And so, yeah.
Are there eating habits? Do you teach that as well? Because I'm telling you, some kids are raised on a candy bar.
Very true. And I believe my brother was raised on Yoo-hoo. Chocolate milk. But we do. We have a set menu that we go by, and then it's for a whole week.
Because nutrition, I mean, you got to be healthy.
Yes.
And again, for kids who go to school and they just had snacks to eat for breakfast, they can't learn.
Yeah. But coming out of a drug addiction, it's real easy to pick up an eating addiction.
Yeah.
And I did that as well when I was fresh in recovery. And it's just, you're just reaching for something. But when you are been on methamphetamines for a long time, you didn't eat much. And so when you started eating, it was like, hey, food is good. And so you tend to eat a little too much. But that's something we have to.
But eating can be an addiction too.
Absolutely. It sure can.
A lot of folks are not, that type of addiction, but maybe need to lose weight. Again, the structure, right?
It is. And we do exercise every single morning. Every morning we have a time of exercise, whether it's Zumba, Pilates, yoga, kickboxing. Sometimes we just do different things.
It's good for the brain too.
It is. And our emotional well-being, it releases that serotonin, and it makes us feel better, even though sometimes they don't want to do it. They usually end up feeling better after they do.
Or you do like me and you overdo it.
No, I don't do that. That's funny.
So we've got just a little bit over a minute left in this segment. What do you want to tell the folks before you go?
I just want to tell anybody out there who may be watching who has struggled with addiction, maybe currently struggling with addiction, or have a loved one that is struggling with addiction, do not give up hope on them. I was one of those that they said never would. She'll never be able to make it. And even when I did get clean, they were just waiting on me to relapse. And so,
Find a new group of friends. Right?
I get that. I really do. But I also know that there is hope and that there is restoration for those who may come through an addict past. And so I want you to just be encouraged today that there's hope for your loved one. If you have a woman in your life that may be struggling with addiction or any life controlling issue, reach out to me. I'm going to get Donna some information on how to get in contact with me. But I also want to say that, I am the director and the founder of the Father's House, but I am also a certified addiction counselor. I am a court clerk, a city clerk, and those are things that I should have never been able to do, that my past, people want to dictate, let my past dictate me, but it doesn't anymore. And so that there's so much hope for your loved one, for any woman out there that may be struggling in addiction, just to know your future is bright and you can do anything. I worked for the court referral program for 6 years. That's something that I never thought I'd be able to do. I've done a lot of things in life that, only God has made it possible. So there's hope.
And there's freedom.
There's freedom.
Freedom feels good.
It does. Absolutely. There's
Katina,
nothing
thank
like
you so much
it.
for being on the show today.
Thank you for
It's been a
having
pleasure.
me.
So we're going to have a regular segment coming up here, maybe to almost every day. No, we won't wear you out that much. But anyway, at least once a month, I want you to come
I would
in
love to.
and talk with us about that. You can also send an email. If you're driving down the road and you're listening to the show on the radio, you can also send an email to me, and I'll be glad to get information. That's Donna@donnasedge.com. Donna@donnasedge.com. Thank you, girl, for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for watching.
At Liberty Bank, we're all about community. Whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need, toys at Christmas, or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took MyPillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented MyPillow to bring you the best pillow in history, MyPillow 2.0. Because of all of you, MyPillow 2.0 has been a huge success, and now we're bringing you our best-selling Go Anywhere MyPillows with the same temperature-regulating technology. Made with my patented adjustable fill and brand-new cooling fabric, they're truly the next generation of MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save over 60% on our MyPillow 2.0 4-pack special. You'll get 2 MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows. Regular $259.92, now only $99.98. King size just $10 more. This is a limited time offer, so please order now.
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.